Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Good to have you here. This is the second episode of the Alchemists Laboratory here on a pagan perspective. And today we're going to talk about uh, ancient symbols and magic and how they correspond to what we do as pagans, witches, ceremonial magicians, just as society in general. And we have to look at the fact that these symbols come from thousands of years back. Okay. And for us, there are two kinds of symbols that we have to, parse in our existence, and they are audio symbols and visual cues and visual symbols, things that we can see. Um, we look at prehistory, before the Industrial Revolution, before there was anything. In our years as cavemen and cave women and cave people, we had the cave paintings, which there are so many in the caves of France, England, all over the world, Egypt, so on and so forth. We have so many cultural symbols of all kinds, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The symbols in magic, in witchcraft, and our other traditions and things that apply to us for our modern magic, and what the ancient ways that come from these symbols mean for us. It's going to be impossible to go over every single symbol that's out there, but I'm going to touch on a good number for you today, just so that you can get an idea of what we're talking about here. We're also going to talk about those symbols that are visible on this video's thumbnail. And we start first with the symbol of the Ankh, which comes from the ancient Egyptians. Today, it is used in many traditions of witchcraft, Egyptian, Kemetic worship, and basically, for a lot of us, the Ankh is a symbol of eternal life, rejuvenation, resurrection, showing that there is life beyond this, our ability to reincarnate, and things like that. So the Ankh as a symbol of life is very important. There were other Egyptian symbols, the hieroglyphs, which were pictorial symbols, which told stories of the people, the gods, the pharaohs, and each culture had different alphabets. The alphabet that we have and the numeral system 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, those are symbols that we use visually and audibly to understand the world around us, especially the alphabets. There are the Phoenician, there are Babylonian, there are other Jewish alphabets and things like that go back thousands of years. And those are how we perceive the world. It's like all the books that we read, all the texts that we receive and stuff. But we also need to look at what these symbols are for. They are there to empower and to send a message. Whenever you take those letters and put them together, you can make words and sentences and convey thoughts and meanings. And that's the same way, not just with the printed word, but also with our magical symbols, such as the Ankh. That's just one example. And if you're interested in any of the stuff that we're talking about today, I suggest that you kind of give this a listen and see where it leads you, because we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. And so right there, we've got the Ankh, and that's an important symbol. Next, we look at one of the most important symbols for witchcraft and ceremonial magic, and that is the pentacle and the pentagram. The difference between the pentacle and the pentagram, you ask? The pentacle is a pentagram inside of a circle. And then you take the pentagram, which is a pentacle, with just the 5-pointed star. And for witches, each of the points represents an element: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, or the void. And in ceremonial magic, the pentagrams are what we use in the LBRP, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the pentagram. So we see the connection. The earth is touched by the pentagram. Every part of existence is touched by the pentagram: the earth, the air, the fire, the water. And those that are alive upon the face of the earth mother, we are the spirit, the animals, the people, and the trees and all the vegetation. We are the spirit of the earth. And all the elements are there for us to sustain us. So you also look at the directional connotations. There are correspondences that go with these symbols. And these symbols are what kind of are roadmaps that we use to distinguish what we are doing within a magical operation. There are people that cast the circle and use the image of the pentacle and cast it literally on the inside of the circle. And also, whenever they are calling the quarters, they invoke through the earth pentagram. And at the end of the ritual, you devoke. There's one way to do it for invoking, and then the other way to clear that energy out, the devoking. So there's all kinds of ways to see what the meaning, the symbolism of the pentagram is itself. Next, we look at one of the most complicated but intense symbols of ceremonial magic, and that is the Tree of Life, the 10 Sephiroth and the 22 paths. And it's just I consider the Tree of Life just like a personal roadmap to living, existing, to continue to work as we will, whether it's in the craft or as a ceremonial magician. And there are milestones. I believe that each of the Sephiroth is a milestone, and I believe that the paths between the Sephiroth are the ways to get there, or some ways to get there. This is a part of the Kabbalah, and so it is one of the most important, signposts for people that are Thelemic, Golden Dawn, other different traditions of ceremonial magic. So within that, and then there are symbols within those symbols. That's the main thing. It's like you look at the Sigillum de Amos, which is imprinted on wax and used to hold up the table during various ritual and magical operations. Look at what is there. Hundreds and hundreds of symbols within the symbols that the sigillum is a part of. So it's like they all tell their own story and they all set up their own vibration. That's one thing. Symbols have power when we give it to them, but also with what has come forward through the millennia, any symbol that has been adopted by culture, like the triquetra for the Celts, the Valknut for anybody that's Northern Heathen, Thor's hammer. These are all symbols that are very, put together for the various, cultures around the world. We have the runes, the Futhark for the Anglo-Saxons. We have the Celtic Ogham. We have just divination with stones. Stones of various color and type are symbols of things. red stones for blood, green stones for luck, purple stones for psychism and spirituality. These are all symbols in their own way. We also look at the idea of what we can learn through numerology, taking the base of everything down to its numeric value and taking the meanings of those numeric values to find out hidden truths and to understand what is going on in our world. You have, symbols that represent various magical groups in the United States, such as the universal hexagram being the symbol of Thelema. One of them, not all of them, but there's one. That's one main symbol. The idea of the Rose Cross for Rosicrucianism and for the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. You have that in each of these symbols. There are symbols inside of that, and that's what makes symbology so important from the ancient time to now, because this is what we look to see what are the codes that we need to look into to bring prosperity to ourselves, to bring health and other good things to our family and friends, but also to advance our spirits into the next life and beyond. We also look at the idea of the night sky has symbols in it. When you look up and you see the constellation Big Dipper, Little Dipper, Orion, and Orion's Belt, and all these things, those are symbols that are brought to us by the astrological chart. 12 houses, each one showing a different birth sign. I'm a Cancer. Let me know what your sign is in the comments. But within that showing of a cycle of a year, each one of those houses shows a different influence on our life and those around us at the time of our birth. It's called a natal chart. And it's a very good thing to have, because those symbols, those Greek symbols and other associated symbols that go with the astrological readings and things like that, are very important. I suggest you look into learning astrology for yourself, maybe learning how to do a chart for yourself and see what you can find out and what you can learn. Also, we have the various magical alphabets. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The Craft, but in the movie The Craft, when they visited the Good Witch's shop and they entered into her temple and altar room in the back, there were what looked like runes all over everywhere that were glowing purple. Those were in the form of the Theban alphabet, otherwise known as the witch's runes or the witch's alphabet. It's what we can use whenever we write out spells, and also we can use them visually whenever we are working within circle with wands, with our athame, whatever it may be. So Theban are symbols that we can use to set up, because each symbol that we have also sets up vibrations for things that can happen in the future. Thus, for whenever we do spell work or meditations or divination, symbols, one of the biggest box of symbols that you're going to have, and I'm picking mine up right now, is my Rider-Waite Tarot deck, which I've had for over 30 years. And this was done by Arthur Edward Waite, and the design of the cards was by Pamela Coleman Smith. Tarot cards tell stories. Each one of those symbols is an important part of figuring out what the cards mean in a spread. That's why we can take these various modes of tarot cards, numerology, just reading the signs and omens around us and stuff. That is a form of symbols. Whenever we can see what happens as the summer ends and we turn into fall, various things like that. We have the idea of The cameas. Cameas are various magical seals that are numeric, and that whenever they are traced out and followed in a certain order, they depict the symbol. Also, we have the 72 daemons of the Shemhamphorash, which are each have their own symbols, each have their own names, and everything. And these are what we can use for various magical operations within our temples, and they can also be worn or carried. Symbols can reflect your like your culture and everything. There are symbols that are relatable to Mexicans, like the symbol of the skeleton, the skeleton head, the skull for Dios de Muertos, the Day of the Dead. We have other symbols for the Norse, and for the Celts, and for the Egyptians, and everything else. And we also have symbols that come about through operations, such as what happens whenever we do tea leaf readings, or the energy that we receive whenever we work with the Tatwa system, which I think the Tatwas are very, 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 very cool. So we have so many of these. I'm going to kind of go through and see what some of the best books that I have and that I can recommend for you guys that can show you all the symbols that I'm talking about. And I'm going to put links to those either for you to purchase or something like that down in the description below. I've been getting random phone calls that are from people that I don't want, so I'm going to have to cut this video short just to avoid all of the reverb calls. So, having said that, I hope this little bit helps you guys to understand that symbols are very important, and to look into the ones that do the most for you, whether it's runes or tarot, or looking at the symbolism within Kabbalah or other magical systems or traditions, and see what each symbol means for you in your life and what you do magically. I want to thank you guys. I want you to take a minute, and if you enjoy my videos, please consider subscribing, leave a like and a comment, and I'll put all the information for all of my socials and everything down below. And we are going to have more videos. So this is the second part of the Alchemists Laboratory, and I am your host, Reverend Sylvanus Truewalker, the Order of Standing Oak, and the magician within the tradition of Thelema, saying until next time, blessed be and 93.